All right, looks like we're live. Let me make sure it's going out okay on the old YouTubes here. I was waiting until I got about half an arena watching, until I got to about 10 viewers. Of course, 20 viewers is an arena because that's the maximum audience he can draw in these days. Of course, about 10 to 12 of them are my audience laughing at him, but nonetheless. So I'm doing a little earlier stream than normal. As I said on Monday, my schedule's a bit all over the place this week, but it should settle into a more normal routine come next week. But here I am doing a little evening stream to entertain you all. Although there's some stiff competition, I think Medicare's still wrapping up a stream in which he was laughing at Europe, as well he should. And I think Razor Fist is streaming about Michael Jackson beating the Michael Jackson is Innocent drum some more, which I agree with him, actually. He, in all fairness, he did convince me on that. Not that I really ever had a strong opinion on that one way or another. Like, I used to kind of think Michael Jackson was probably guilty because, he's fucking weird, or he was, I should say. And Hollywood's filled with pedos anyways. It's the worst kept secret in the world. So I was like, yeah, he probably did it. But after watching a lot of Razor Fist's commentary on the subject, I kind of changed my mind on that. And yeah, I don't think he did it at all now. But moving on. First thing I guess we can talk about is get fuck Europe yet again. And from a lot of people in my circle, even I know Matt Forney. I know you're a bit of a Europhile, I guess. Oh, you love it in Europe. Oh, it's so great. All the tradition and away from us gross Americans with our 56% and our Big Macs and said, fuck Europe. Fuck Europe. We left the old world for a reason. Fuck Europe. Get fucked, Europe. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure eventually the fucking this bizarre, what do you even call this cathedral? This bizarre worst elements of Marxism and fascism, corporate government, fucking alliance. This Legion of Doom is eventually going to drag us all into this hellscape. But at least here in 56% burger America, we can resist it a little longer than the fags over in Europe. The fucking Europe, the vote ended up passing because some dipshit EU guy from Sweden, of course, Sweden, fucking hit the wrong button. Fuck Europe. Fucking. Cowardly the dog says, I mixed on the porn license, although just like Article 1113, it's basically boomer tier logic to fix things. Yeah, poor Cowardly the dog. He needs a license to jack off. All right, mate, get that dick out your hand. You got your dick in your hand license. You got your dick in your hand license. Oi, mate. You best not be looking at titties without your license. What a fucking joke. What's the one guy at having the chat Anglophile who'd be like, oh, you 56%er, oh, you mutt, 56%. Fuck yeah, 56%. You know what the other 44% is? Fucking freedom. That's what the other 46 or 44% is, buddy. Fucking freedom. Jack Cable has got you freaking out from the psyops I was running on you. Oh, so this is interesting. So apparently 40 explains to me that this anonymous Bosch faggot from the Roosh Forum actually was the one who was threatening to get me deplatformed. I don't know why he was doing that. Like a year ago, he was warning both Davis and Matt about all the occult pagan alt-right stuff in the alt-right. So why he's siding with the guy that joined a pagan cult, I couldn't tell you. But yeah, apparently he was Jack Cable because I guess he's dying, according to him. according to the message he sent for me. He's got some terminal illness. Where he's deaf now, I guess, and so he's just so depressed and bored he decided to start sucking Irini's dick. But press S to spit on his grave. Let's see, we'll just go ahead and so yeah, that's enough of that. Because I'm not interested in fake Christians. I went deaf from listening to your shitty streams. Well, soon you'll be dead. There we go. Anyways, yeah, I would not interested in fake Christians. Once again, and this is the shit you get from Irini too, where virtue is defined as whether or not you're making fun of Davis Irini. That's the only way Davis Irini can define virtue. He thinks Milo's virtuous, sucking black dick all day long and scamming people out of money. But I'm the bad guy because I laughed at him on the internet. You gotta laugh at people on the internet while you're still allowed to. Gotta laugh at him while you're still allowed to. Which, by the way, how is he deaf if he's fucking listening to a stream? I don't know. Maybe he's not even listening to it. I don't know. You fucking narcissists. They're so full of shit. You can't trust a word they say. But yeah, that's Irini's handful of dick rider friends. I shouldn't even say dick rider since, from what I understand, man can't get it up. But nonetheless, somebody says he reads my streams in Braille. Well, I think what he does is he puts his hand onto the laptop. He feels the vibrations of my voice, like how a snake hears. Spice Weasel sends $2. Have some freedom dollars. Exactly. Have some freedom dollars. That's the thing, guys. Before Europe leading the way to destroying the internet, we got to enjoy it. We got to enjoy the internet while we can. Make fun of retards on the internet like Davis while we still can. Somebody says Medicare now knows Irini joined a pagan cult. Well, that might be fun to. That might be fun if that goes somewhere. Who knows? Yeah, I didn't catch the end of Medicare stream. Maybe somebody sent a super chat and told him. Wasn't me. Just because I'm too cheap. I need them shekels sent into me, not sent out. But yeah, that's the thing. Because I was catching the tail end of Matt's stream. I was listening to it again last night. I was listening to it on and off as it was going. Matt, by the way, Forney did an epic 6-hour just evisceration of the Leaf, and good stuff. Highly recommend it. Certain humble little Bulbasaur hopped in it for a while. Somebody says, I know you're not into weeb shit, but have you heard about the DBZ voice actor who's fighting back against being Me Too'd? Yeah, the Vic, whatever, or something. Yeah, he's having a little bit of success fighting back. Supposedly he got re-invited to some of the cons, so good for him. Waffle Evil sends $5, says the Bechtloff stream will soon be unavailable in the European Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Got to send them freedom dollars while I can. Oh, are you in the European Union? God bless you. Oh man, you poor bastard. You poor son of a bitch. But anyways, as I was saying, I was listening to Matt's stream a little bit more, and I was actually, it's funny because towards the end of it, Matt is so burned out, you can tell he's not even really responding to most of what Davis says. It ends up being just Matt and some guest shit, just bullshitting while Davis's dumb verbal diarrhea spews in the background. his arguments have become basically the verbal equivalent of the tub girl meme, the tub girl picture, which I would not recommend googling if you are at work or have recently eaten. But yes, Davis's verbal diarrhea is essentially the tub girl in verbal form. But I was listening to bits and pieces of it because I'd already listened to the stream before, and I'm sort of listening to a little bit of Davis rant in the background. And he's going off about how, like, of course, because he's falling in with these idiot pagans who worship their bloodlines. You know, they're all about the white gods. So he's going off about how the Legos, it needs the ethnos. What was he saying? It needs the heritage and the tradition. And see, Bechtloff's he's just jealous because he doesn't have tradition like Davis does. I guess Davis is pure Italian, unlike most people in North America. He's not your European mutt like me. And it struck me because it's similar to a few months ago. Davis suggested that the reason I was angry at the Catholic Church was because I was jealous of all its gay opulence, like the big pretty buildings and the big gold gay hat that the Pope has, and all the just opulence and decadence. And what he didn't get is, not only am I not jealous of that stuff, I find it a little repugnant. More to the point, I find the need for it repugnant. It's sort of like, the Indiana Jones movie. What was the one with the Holy Grail? Last Crusade. It's sort of like Last Crusade, where the Nazi thinks that, there's like the big pimp cup with its gold and it's got the jewels all over it and shit. And the Nazi thinks that was the Holy Grail. And he's like, yes, it's truly a cup for a king. And he drinks out of it and, he disintegrates. Great practical effects for the time. Great, amazing visual effects for the time. And then, Indiana Jones, it's just a little simple cup because Christ was just a carpenter. He was that time's equivalent of, I don't know, not middle class in the sense we have now, but it would sort of be middle class, low middle class. I mean, he was working poor. He wasn't starving on the street. He grew up with a roof over his head, food in his belly, but, he wasn't rich. And someone like Davis, it's that same thing where he can't see anything but the surface. You hear him whine of, oh, Protestants have ugly church buildings, which, again, not all Protestants, but who the fuck cares? I actually find a great deal of beauty in a lot of these little small non-denominational churches that buy up old storefront and turn that into a church. Now, I know to Davis that's the ugliest thing in the world, but to me that's beautiful because it represents the gospel. They're redeeming this abandoned real estate, repurposing it for God. But he's going on about Bechtloff doesn't have tradition. Bechtloff doesn't have tradition. He doesn't have his heritage. I have vaguish European heritage, like any white guy in North America. I have a little bit of native in me even too. But I don't care. So that's the thing. He almost, I don't know that he could fathom. I don't give a shit. Yeah. My surname, Bechtloff, is German. I can trace that. My father's father's father, my great-great-grandfather, he came here turn of the last century. But so what? I mean, I like my last name. It's a very uncommon last name. I mean, I've known people on the internet that have that, but I've never met anyone in the wild that whose blood I couldn't trace to me who had that last name. So I like my last name. I mean, I've made it my brand. But I'm not, my proud German heritage. I don't give a fuck about my proud German heritage. I'm not German. I'm American, damn it. Proud of my American heritage. I'm proud of America. All right. Whose flag is on the moon, bitch? You know? I mean, I'm not necessarily happy about the future of America, but I mean, what the fuck country right now has a positive future? But I do have glimmers of hope that it can be turned around. But yeah, I love America. Yeah, God bless America, even for all its faults. Hell, it's America's faults are the result of its success. Think about that. All of our faults, the consumerism and the gluttony and all this other shit that the fags in Europe will whine about. Those are flaws we only have because of our success, because of our amazing success. We could be like Davis and humble brag. You know how Davis, every time he talks about his faults, it's like, I'm too good with women or I'm too nice to people, all that gay humble bragging shit. Well, our nation could do that. Our faults are the direct result of how awesome this country is. The only thing that's defeated us is victory. David Serini says, or I'm sorry, David Arine says the French flag is on the moon, not America's. Well, he's sort of right. The flag is bleached white due to solar and I guess interstellar radiation. But I'm sorry, the Earth is flat. The moon's not real. Of course, the Earth's flat. How else would it not roll off the turtle? But yeah, I don't need heritage. I mean, it's nice to trace your heritage, but I've never had an urge to go all 23andMe. And I have my friends, I have my family, I have God. You know, I don't really need to give much of a shit about what some relative of mine 100 or 1,000 years ago was doing. Who cares? I have a few stories that are interesting, little bits of bloodline. It's interesting to look back, from where you came from and all. But I'm not going to make it some sort of like, I don't know. I'm not going to worship it. Is what it boils down to. It's interesting to look into when you can and all. I got a bunch of weird oddball stories on my father's mother's side. I guess what was doxing myself. Myers was her family's name, and boy, the Myers clan was full of mostly Irish. So you can imagine the Myers clan was full of a whole bunch of drunks and whores. I know somebody on that side actually lost a company in a poker game. So there's fun little stories in my heritage and all, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and worship it. And I mean, like Davis is almost like one of those I was Kang's guys. Like the motherfucker barely knows his father, but he traces his lineage back to ancient wizards or some gay shit. Like, get the fuck. We was wizards. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. All right, Matt Forney's in here like, oh, he's in the chat. Oh, you Americans, you're going to have to follow the Article 13 stuff too. I don't know how the fuck that's going to fall. I don't think, like, the hate speech laws are one thing that the European Union is forcing on, but we're not. I don't think we're going to get bound by Article 13 and 11 because it's basically the death of the internet. I don't see how the internet can even begin to function. Like, you basically got to go to like back to AOL or some shit with that crap. So no, I don't really. I think it's just going to be easier for a lot of these tech companies to just segregate out Europe. Yeah, the hate speech laws they're dying to do, and maybe they'll crack down a little bit on us, but not to the full extent of that stuff. You can't. Damn, Forney, you're spending way too much time over there. You got to come back home to America, okay? All right, you need to come back home to America. All right, we gotta get you back home. Get a decent fucking hamburger in you. Some French fries. Remind you of America. All right, you're spending way too much time over in gay Europe. All right, you don't stop it. You're going to end up joining Greg Johnson's group. I'm not sure a lot of this is even going to go through. I get the feeling a lot of these laws are going to collapse or exist only on paper. In some ways, the nightmares thing would be to exist only on paper and get used only when they feel like using it against their enemies, so that everybody doesn't feel the sting of it. Cowardly the dog asks if the captain is co-hosting tonight. Look, the captain may indeed be co-hosting tonight, and that's because I got all this freedom that I had to share some of it with him. I know over at Bing Bong Land you wouldn't understand. So he says European libtard once again by 17-year-old American with Pickle Rick sticker on their helmets. Somebody says Twitter, Facebook, Google will happily enforce Article 13 for the same reason. You won't be able to post anything. Nobody's going to use these sites if you can't post memes. I mean, that's all people do. Even fucking old boomer soccer moms on Facebook only use the site to post memes. If you can't post any copyrighted shit, they're not going to be able to repost their Ziggy cartoons and their stupid fucking Minion memes. Okay? That's all anybody does on the internet. David Orion says, Matt Forney, yeah, come back over. It's been too long since you and I went shooting. That's the other thing with Arini. He wants to shit talk America so much. This fucking leaf, whose prime minister looks like he should be auditioning for cuckolds.com. And he wants to shit talk, but he would suck a dick to come back here. He is so desperate to come back to the States. He was better off in the States being a fucking illegal immigrant, not able to work. He is over in Canada right now. Somebody says, I didn't notice he was teacupping his gun before you pointed out. I learned that shit first time on the shooting range and have no military training. Well, in all fairness, I mean, Davis only has Canadian military training, so that's only like a step above the Girl Scouts when you get right down to it. Somebody said he quit blowing his money on alcohol and cigarellas. He'd be able to afford coming here. I don't know what alcohol is. He'd be able to afford to move here. Cigarellas. That even sound? I haven't even heard of that. Like, it's fucking ghetto cigars. He smoked like a fucking dozen of them on that stream. So he says U.S. border is wide open unless watched and downside. Oh, he could probably sneak down here easy. Any Canadian could, but then you can't fucking work if you don't have documentation. Article 13 will be implemented worldwide because it supports the gentrification of the internet that is already happening. Now, I don't see how Article 13. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they want to do that shit, but they're not. Article 13 is just too broad and too poorly written. There's no way they can. I have a hard time believing they're even going to be able to properly implement it there. Like I said, you won't be able to post anything. It's just basically shutting down the internet. Yeah, it's too poorly written. They're not gonna. You can't. There's no way to impose it. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, that is definitely the future they want to head us towards. Um, of a completely sanitized internet, turning the internet into just television 2.0 on it. I just don't think this is this is not going to help them do it. This is just shooting themselves in the dick. Yeah, somebody says I agree with Bechtloff on this. It's a huge clusterfuck written by people who don't know understand how the internet works. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's gonna be a huge fucking ass reaming for the EU for a little while, and then that'll be the end of it. It'll peter out and either get rewritten or it's never going to be fully implemented or fully. He says it's too boomer style written to work. It's basically the AOC of internet laws. Won't work, can't work. Will be funny to watch burn. Yeah, you can't do anything on the internet under that. You can't do a fucking thing on the internet under that. Everything copy like I said, it fucking talk sanitized. No, that's sanitized by just drowning it in bleach, just killing it all. Like I said, nothing. Facebook is about as sanitized as you can get right now. I mean, you get in trouble in Facebook for just anything, and the edgiest thing Facebook will allow is fucking boomer conservatives get to post some minion memes about supporting Israel or some dumb shit like that, and that's it, right? But you can't post your minion meme. That's copyrighted. You can't post your fucking Ziggy comic. You can't post your Calvin pissing on a Democrat donkey. That's all gone. All right. You can't even do that shit. You can't even have shitty boomer tier memes under this. He says, don't they charge you for linking news articles? Yeah, dude, the whole thing is just, dude, the whole thing would just grind everything to a halt. For he says, I'm technically not in Europe, Bechtloff, so spare me the 56%ism. The land I'm standing in is in Asia. You are technically correct. The best kind of correct. Well, I don't know what second world hellhole you're hiding out in this week, Matt. I don't keep track. All right, because nothing in the world matters but America. You understand that? I'm sorry. Like people are telling me like, "Oh, but in the country of Georgia." And I'm like, "I'm going to stop you right here." Because I don't care about your baby country that doesn't have nukes and didn't land on the moon. It's America, damn it. That's why it's soccer, okay, and not foot. It's never going to be football. I don't care if the whole rest of the universe calls it football. Football. It's soccer, okay? It's a gay fucking sport that children play. It's soccer. All right. It's like fucking hockey, only on slow motion. Without fights. It's gay. It's fucking gay. It's poverty ball. That's why it's popular everywhere else. Because you don't need nothing but drawing some lines for goals in the dirt with a stick and a severed head to kick around. That's why the third world loves it. That's why it's popular in Africa so much. It's just It's soccer. Okay. America is why the rest of the world has to learn imperial. Forget the metric crap. The metric system is only good for measuring how much of a faggot you are. That's a fact. Soccer is for people with no upper body strength. It's just for football players who can't throw. That's all it is. Uh, Syndicate Chief says sends $2. Says based Bechtloff. Thank you. Thanks for the uplifter laughter. Um, yeah, it's soccer. All right. Was it a few months ago? Somebody asked me like, "Oh, Bechtloff, you're a Mega Man fan. Have you ever played Mega Man football?" I'm like, "No such game exists. I have, however, played Mega Man soccer. If that's what you're talking about." And it was kind of cool, except for the fact that it was soccer. Like the Mega Man parts of it was cool, but the soccer parts was fucking soccer, and therefore kind of gay. Like, why couldn't Mega Man? Well, you could have played hockey. Hockey's fucking awesome. Hockey's what soccer wishes it was. It's faster pace and people fight. Hockey's fucking awesome. Hockey is a proper white man sport. That's what hockey is. Oh, soccer. And well, America just doesn't like soccer because America's not good at soccer. America's not good at soccer because our athletes don't fucking play soccer. They go play real sports, okay? I bet you fucking LeBron James could be an amazing soccer goalie. I bet you fucking I don't even watch sports ball, but whoever the fuck are the superstars in like football or something, they could probably kick ass at soccer. All right. But they don't because they'd rather play sports that aren't so quite so butt fuckingly gay. Redeemed Arini sends $5 Canadian. Not sure what that is in real dollars. That says the good thing about Article 13, Bechtloff, is that you will finally put down the Nintendo. Actually, that's the thing. If it does kill the internet, then I'm likely to be playing way more Nintendo because I won't be able to make fun of retards on the internet anymore. I love what Ann Coulter said when she was talking about it. Was just one of her books back in like the early 2000s. She was talking about like demographic shit back when like nobody else was. Um, and she was all like, the only reason soccer is becoming more popular in America is because America is becoming less America. All the fucking immigrants. Matt Forney says, I'm going to spend $1,000 a month to build a soccer field outside Beckloff's house. Well, that'll be great for all the kids in the neighborhood because soccer is a children's sport. It's for little kids that are afraid to get hurt. So just run around, kick a ball. I used to play soccer and I turned 10. Soccer. Who the fuck is messaging me? I'm Boomer Bechtloff over here. I don't have a fucking I don't have my phone on mute. In all fairness, I don't really know how to mute this phone yet. I had to upgrade from my BlackBerry up to the smartphone. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Um, what the? Who is messaging me? Don't fucking message me. Stop. Mute your phone. No, my phone was muted or was not muted. I'm sorry. So I can't unmute it because it was never muted. See, I'm not. I gotta have Davis teach me all the keyboard shortcuts on here. Or that. Why the fuck can't? And then it's gone. Anyone? mute their phones, I guess. Honestly, I don't care enough is a big reason. Spice Weasel sends $20. Thank you very much. Has shekels from one boomer to another. Yes, 30-year-old boomer intensifies here. Before they do a stream, I guess. Yes. Bechtloff has no Legos. That's true. If you look, you can only get Bulbasaur stuff in the Mega Blocks. So Bechtloff has rejected the Legos in favor of the Mega Blocks. Oh, that was so funny. Nigga spent 2 fucking hours mispronouncing that word. It's just he's too big brain. He's too big brain. To mute your phone, press and hold the off button. Everyone Skype Bechtloff constantly. I don't have Skype on my phone yet. Oh, no, wait. Did I download Skype on here? Can't remember. I never did on the old one. No, I got Skype messages turned off. But I do end up getting like Facebook messages if you're friends with me on Facebook. And I get text messages if you actually have my number, but you have no Legos and Lagos. Mega Blocks Master Race. That's right. Mega Blocks rise up. The 56% Chad Mega Block versus the Virgin Pale Pure White Lego. We just need more Lagos. That's right. We need more Lagos. Cowardly the Dog sends two British shekels. It says unmute your phone. Also, £2 equal $2.64. Well, thank you very much for the $2.64. I appreciate that greatly. We just need more Lagos. That's right, chat. Need more Lagos. Bechtloff has rejected the Legos because he doesn't like tradition, and that's the thing. It's not even a dislike tradition. It's like I'm not going to worship it. All right. You know, like the reason I'm a Christian is not because I give a shit about tradition. All right. I really don't. I don't give a shit about what my ancestors were doing 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, whatever. I went to Christianity because I believed it was true. Not because of tradition. I mean, like Antidem. I love Antidem. I've had him on this show before. I hope I'll have him on again. Hell, he's been in my home. I love the guy. But, you know, every time I hear him defending Catholicism, he makes it sound like it's just a really, really convincing scam. Somebody says, just listen to live stream video, you boomer Bulbasaur. I'm thinking I might do some more arcade stuff on here now I know how to screen share. I'll see if it's still up. You know, CBS or Paramount might have ripped it down for copyright shit, you know, and I'm sure it's not up in the EU yet. But there's a fan-made game, not even a game, it's more a simulator, where you can just, in first person, just walk around the Enterprise D, like the next-gen Enterprise. So that Razorfish did an arcade of that. That'd be cool to do. And they were supposedly working on a patch where you could walk around DS9 too. So that'd be kind of cool. You know, just on a you know, on an evening sometime, just kind of have a bullshit. You know, me and the captain, me and good Captain Morgan, wander around and Forney says your computer's not going to be able to handle that. I don't know. Maybe it will. I probably couldn't even stream. I'll give it a shot. There's other stuff too I'd like to stream. I have not been able to play video in like a couple of weeks. I've just been busy with other shit. Like I just tonight I was able to sit down. I got home a little early, so I was able to play a little Smash before I sat down for the stream. Got Wolf unlocked for whatever the fuck that's worth. Don't really give a shit about him, but nice to have him nonetheless. Which says, I think that Star Trek sim was shut down for copyright. That's such a shame. That's such a shame. Can't wait for Boomer in with the Bechtloff. It was shut down. That's a shame. You see, if Paramount had brains or CBS, I don't know. There's sort of a split between Paramount and CBS. That's sort of why Star Trek had to get rebooted. There's all sorts of complicated legal bullshit going on between the two of them. But if whatever, whoever the hell the rights owners are, if they had any brains, they'd have told that guy, can just, we'll give you some money for your work, and here we'll release this. Because yeah, that was really cool, and it was incredibly faithfully done. I mean, hell, they should have just expanded on that. They should have just hired that guy on and said, okay, you know what, this is great. We're going to hire you on to work on one for the original series and DS9 and even Voyager. They throw them together as like one pack and throw that shit on like every console. What do you do in this game? Hey, you don't do shit. You just wander around. Fucking hang out on a fucking Enterprise. What else you want to do? There really aren't much in the way of good Star Trek games. Never really have been. I don't know. I think the PC had it a little better than console. Console had it rough on Star Trek games. So he says, do you like Sonic Mania? I do like Sonic Mania. I haven't had a chance to really... I haven't beaten it yet or anything. But what I've played of it, I really do enjoy. I mean, it's basically... Like Sonic 3 and Knuckles is one of my favorite games ever made. It's easily in the top 5. It's my favorite platformer ever. And Sonic Mania is just basically more of that. Matt Forney says, my computer just got blocked because I said a word that is referring to a bundle of sticks. Uh-oh. I go, are we not allowed to say faggot anymore? Is that on there? Not allowed to say faggot anymore. What about Davis? Does he get a pass on saying that because he is one? I don't know. I'll have to ask. I have to ask around, see what's going on with there. I've noticed I'm on the ban list if quality filters are enabled. Matt Forney says, I called CBS faggots for shutting down Stage 9. Gay, gay, gay. Well, they were indeed that. Like I said, they should have just hired that guy on and expanded on that idea. Maybe. I mean, you might even be able to turn it into a mission. Just, you're an ensign, and maybe we give an actual proper game. Maybe you're an ensign, and we gave you a few missions. You're a red shirt on the original Enterprise. Try not to die. Yeah, that's you got to hand it to Sega with Sonic Mania. They saw a fan making incredible fan games, and they said, "Hey, can you do that and make us money? Because we don't know what we're doing with the thing we own." Which certainly the CBS doesn't know what they're doing with Star Trek. Seth MacFarlane got drunk one day and made a better Star Trek. They said they're ramping up the censorship hard. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's almost not even entirely political. It's partly political, but it's more just they just want you to be. What's that meme of the guy and he's like hosting some geek podcast? It looks like, and he's got like an X-Men shirt on or something. And I don't know if it's actual text. I've just seen the meme, but the text below it says, "Do not question product. Just be excited. Just consume product and be excited for next product." That's all they want you to. They don't want you to be true. See, true fans of something, they're some of the most critical motherfuckers in the world. They don't want you doing that. Okay. Somebody says, what do you think of Shazam doing well in theaters? Well, I'm glad it's doing well. It looks good. It looks good. So and from what I understand, the parent company didn't have to buy up a bunch of fucking Phantom tickets. like Disney had to do with the other Captain Marvel. Um, let's see. Matt Forney says second on FTL. Oh, I see. FTL is a very good potato friendly game, which is Star Trek style. If you want to play it, I'll check that out. I'll check that out. Yeah, it's weird. The other day I was looking at. I don't know why they came to my mind. But when I was a kid, in like like the early-ish to mid '90s, I remember like 93, 94. My dad got me a bunch of like Micro Machines was doing little ships for various Star Trek and Star Wars primarily. But I had a bunch of the little Star Wars ones, and they had little cool little like clear plastic display stands so they could all stand up and shit. And they weren't to scale with each other because of course they weren't. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, if a shuttlecraft is what about a centimeter, you know, what you know, then what's the Enterprise D going to be like 8 feet long or something? You know. So obviously they weren't to scale with each other, a lot of them. But I just remember thinking of those recently, and I just remember like recently I've been on a kick where I've just been thinking a lot of the good memories of Star Trek. Like, yeah, I know I know Gene Roddenberry was an autistic communist. I know Star Trek was sometimes very stupid and gay, but it really did have its brilliance. That's one of the reasons I love SF Debris, and I haven't caught him in a while, but I really should watch him again. Is that he's someone he's a fan of Star Trek, but still sees through its bullshit. But for whatever reason, maybe the Orville is just getting me really, really nostalgic for when Star Trek wasn't a 13-year-old black girl as the captain. Uh, Somebody says, gun to your head, would you rather hang out with Arini or Ross? Oh, pedophile Ross? Well, I don't know about hanging out, but I don't know. I guess Ross, just because in a way he's sort of more interesting. Like Davis is just a narcissist, okay? And when you get right down to it, he's often very, very boring. You know what I mean? Like once you see through his bullshit, he's just really, really boring. Um, it's just textbook narcissism. Davis is as predictable as a sunrise. But Ross is this bizarre, perfect storm of like so many mental disorders. Plus, he's also kind of a shithead, and it's very morbidly fascinating. I find Ross very morbidly fascinating. I know that I'd much rather have Ross as I would actually love to have Ross as a guest on the show. I wouldn't even be that mean to him. It's just I have so many questions. Like, if I can get you to be lucid enough for 5 minutes to answer some questions, that'd be fantastic. I mean, Ross is definitely more evil. Don't get me wrong, but it's very, very bizarrely fascinating. Like Ross should really be studied. Like psychology classes for 100 years from now should be studying Ross. He should probably have his brain dissected. Uh, you know, of course, after a lawful execution for once they find all the children in his basement. So he says, who smells worse, Arini or Ross? Well, I mean, Ross smells like shit and ass, by all accounts. Whereas I'm sure Arini smells like, well, I know Arini smells like cigarettes all the time. Like just in the cheapest, nastiest, shittiest cigarettes imaginable. So he says, expectations on the new Picard show. I don't know what to make of that, man. I don't know what they're doing with that. It's so hard to tell what they have in mind, what they're thinking. I don't know, man. I mean, you know, it's Patrick Stewart involved in it. You have the potential for something great just from his involvement, but only potential. I couldn't tell you. There's a million ways they could go with that, and like 80% of them are awful. So who knows? Um, let's see. People are arguing over who smells worse, Arini or Ross in the chat. So he says Patrick Stewart is too fucking old for this shit. Yeah, you really kind of almost need to do an Admiral Stewart thing, or an Admiral Picard thing. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, a million different ways it could go with it. Most bad. Um. Yeah, I don't have any confidence in any Star Trek show or movie being good ever again. And I mean that's sad. Again, that's something I loved as a kid. That's something I bonded with my dad with. I mean, every Saturday when I was a little kid, we'd watch, a rerun of the original series and then a new episode of Next Gen. And even going through high school, we were watching like DS9 and Voyager and shit when it was new. People are saying who would win in a cage fight, Arini or Bizarro Arini, or somebody saying Arini or Ross. I don't know. So it says follows Captain Jean-Luc Picard as he scours the galaxy looking for the ultimate in hip replacement technology and an infinite bowl of Metamucil. Going nowhere where no geriatric has gone before. Yeah, I can't. I don't see that as a good idea. I don't see basically anything they're doing. There's a few really cool Star Trek comics going on at IDW. Other than that, the brand is just really dead. It's just really, really dead. So he says Bechtloff did watch Star Trek V with the old man recently. A lot better than I expected. Point still stands. TOS crew greater than TNG crew. I don't know about that. But and I don't know about Star Trek V being good. That's arguably the worst of the original movies, like the original crew movies. Maybe you could make the argument that Star Trek 1 is worse because it's just so boring. But Star Trek 5 is definitely on a technical level worse. So says I wouldn't say good, but better. Carolee Dog says I wouldn't say good, but better than I expected. Yeah, it's rough. 3 is actually pretty good for the odd number curse and all that stuff, but 3 is actually decent. I mean, Christopher Lloyd's Klingon in that it makes it alone worth watching. Star Trek: The Motion Picture is just 2001. 2001 was overrated, though. That's the problem. I've been watching all the original shows from first to last. DS9 was better than made out to be. DS9 is probably the height of the franchise, like full stop. It had a rough start, but all in all, yeah, DS9 is the height of that franchise. The only one I never watched even I'm not sure I've ever even seen a full episode of is Enterprise. I've seen more of the fucking Star Trek cartoon than I've seen of Enterprise. I keep forgetting Enterprise even exists. Like I really keep forgetting that even existed. But yeah, like I said, just been feeling a little nostalgic for it. I think it's actually the Orville. I think the Orville has me feeling that way. Orville's a great show. So he says Star Trek is space communist for autistic incels. I mean, it is at times. I'm not gonna lie. Like what? Probably the worst of that franchise. The worst point of that franchise. It again. Let's just count the. Let's just say Voyager is the end of it. Okay, let's forget Enterprise existed because I can't comment on that. Star Trek Discovery is obviously new lows. But before that, I'd say the lowest point in the franchise is probably season 1 TNG. Um, as much as I really, really liked TNG as a whole as a kid, season 1 was fucking rough, man. It was like everything wrong with Star Trek distilled. Let's see. I think I might wrap this up here soon. Going on for a little while. What else did I want to talk about today? Is there any other news other than Europe trying to kill the internet? That fucking actor from that show nobody watches, that Fake the Hate Crime. He got let off because the prosecutor was a friend of Michelle Obama or some shit like that. It's just really sickening. Cowardly Dog says, I'll fight you on Star Trek, fam. Also, drink some Monster Ultra. Oh, no. I hate those energy drinks, man. They're disgusting. Let's see. Did you see that Senator Mike Lee talked about memes during the Green New Deal vote? This timeline. So he said, "My boomer parents watch Empire. They still hate that character." I love what Razorfist described it. He goes, "Let me get this straight. It's a primetime soap opera on network TV about the record industry. It might as well be about flappers for all the relevance it has." TV's just in general for boomers. Like I said, there's a few shows here and there worth watching. I really enjoy The Orville. There's plenty others people can point to, but TV in general is just fucking for boomers, man. It was about 10 years ago, TV died. It just flat out died. And they're going to do the same thing to the internet. So, enjoy the internet while you can, folks. Support the alternative media you enjoy. If you enjoy this show, you send super chats, you can send PayPal, you can Patreon it. You can support on Patreon. You can check out my Amazon wish list. You can also check out the sponsor, Steve's Jerky. Steve's Jerky is fantastic. So get you some Steve's Jerky. And in my personal experience, it will protect you from the hexes of witches and wizards. I believe it also helps you acquire the Legos. I'm not sure on that. I'd have to call my ex-friend who's an expert on Legos. But yeah, I think that's about all we got for today, folks. I want to thank all y'all for listening. And like I said, enjoy the internet while you can, because it's going to go bye-bye here sooner than we all expect. So, Bechtloff out.